When people first saw this man walking with 6 German Shepherd dogs without any leashes, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. The blind obedience shown by the dogs left everyone stunned. Some even thought that he might have forced the dogs to behave this way, but when the truth came out, everyone was shocked. The first time people spotted Osto de Oliveira on the streets of Hyannis, Massachusetts, the scene looked like something straight out of a movie. This young man in his early 20s was walking calmly with an organized group of German Shepherds. One could immediately tell that the dogs were acting as a single unit, showing incredible discipline and teamwork. And Osto, their proud owner, stood tall, making it clear that he was their respected leader. Seeing this immense power combined with complete control was something people couldn't comprehend. Naturally, this scene attracted a lot of attention and raised many questions. The more people tried to understand Osto's secret, the more confused they became. Sure, many people had dogs, but no one could make them behave the way this man did with his pack. Even professional trainers and animal experts found it difficult to explain how these dogs moved together with such perfection, without the usual commands and tools. When one brave passerby decided to get closer for a better look, they noticed something almost impossible to believe. None of the dogs were wearing a leash, yet they all moved as if they were tied together, almost like a sled dog team. It was as if they were connected by invisible ropes. Each dog knew exactly where it belonged, following Osto's voice alone. These dogs were so well trained that they resembled a military unit. They didn't fight, weren't distracted by other dogs, and didn't glance at the dogs barking behind fences or being pulled by their owners. Their eyes were focused only on their group and their leader. Every day, when Osto and his dogs walked through the streets and parks of Hyannis, people would stop and stare. Some were so amazed by what they saw that they would ask to take a picture. Osto would simply give a single command, and the whole group would freeze for the picture. As soon as the photo was taken, a quick whistle from Osto would bring them back into line, and each dog would return to its designated place behind him. Soon, Osto and his amazing dogs became the talk of the entire town. Whispers followed him everywhere, and not all of it was friendly. Some neighbors and onlookers began to wonder if something darker was going on. People couldn't help but notice that Osto didn't spend time with anyone except his dogs. He started to seem a little uncomfortable whenever he had to deal with people. Hardly anyone ever visited this man's house, and it was clear that he didn't have any close human friends. In the evenings, the curious neighbors would sit outside his apartment for hours, trying to catch a glimpse through the curtains or hear anything. Could it explain how such a quiet person could control a group of strong German Shepherd dogs so easily? Some even suspected that he might be mistreating them to get that kind of obedience. Translation: Nancy. Some went even further, rummaging through his trash can, hoping to find evidence. One neighbor, a particularly curious woman, had spent most of her life rescuing stray animals. She was convinced that Osto must be using electric shock collars on his dogs. She went so far as to collect signatures from all over the neighborhood to push for an official investigation in what she believed was a case of abuse. Honestly, Osto probably could have put an end to all the rumors if he had spoken openly about his training methods, but whenever people asked him, he remained very reserved. His silence unintentionally fueled suspicion. When he did speak, he usually said that it took a lot of patience and dedication to make his dogs walk without leashes. And to be fair, everyone knew he wasn't lying about that part. It was no secret that Osto had dedicated his entire life to becoming an expert dog trainer. He grew up surrounded by German Shepherds, a breed famous for its courage and loyalty. These dogs are naturally eager to protect those they love, and they risk everything for their family. Anyone who saw Osto's pack could see how deeply they cared for him, but it was this intense loyalty that eventually led the authorities to step in. Some people couldn't believe that the dogs obeyed him out of love and respect alone. They were certain that something darker must have been happening behind the scenes. If the neighbors had bothered to do a little research, they could have saved everyone a lot of trouble. Although Osto lived in Massachusetts, he was originally from Brazil. He grew up on a farm there and had been surrounded by German shepherds since he was a child. Right away, he showed a special talent for understanding animals and working with them. He would spend long afternoons among the dogs, hardly realizing that he was training them just by the way he moved and spoke. When the police finally entered his apartment, they were shocked by what they found. Osto and his dogs weren't living like a traditional owner and pets. They were more like a real family. There were no cages, no kennels, and no pens. The dogs, Griffin, Harmony, Gina, Priscilla, Hannah, and Savannah, all of them slept there with Osto. They would gather on the bed with him, relax on the couch, and stretch out on the carpet wherever they felt comfortable. It didn't take long to see that this man's whole life revolved entirely around his dogs. After not finding anything suspicious, the police decided to bring in animal behavior experts. These professionals spent several days closely observing Osto, searching his house, and studying every move he made. After a few days of careful observation, the investigators were ready to present their report. The good news is that they did not find any signs of neglect or abuse among Osto's German Shepherd dogs. In fact, these dogs were living a dream life, while the police and animal rescue services appreciated the community's concern for the animals. It turned out that this case was a complete false alarm. Osto's dogs were treated like royalty, receiving the best food, care, and love possible. He loved them as if they were his own children. Although Osto was hurt when he learned that people thought badly of him, he was able to take something positive from the whole situation. Shortly after the investigation ended, he was able to turn his passion into a full-time career. He opened Griffin Shepherd Kennels, a place where he directed his skills to train dogs to be polite and obedient companions. Dog owners would send their puppies to Osto, and after just a few weeks they would receive calm, trained dogs that fit perfectly into their homes, even small apartments. Although he welcomed all breeds, German Shepherds remained his true specialty. Osto was not only able to lead his 6 German Shepherds off-leash through crowded streets, but he also claimed that he could handle up to 15 off-leash dogs at once without any problem. Recently, he even started taking his group through the busy streets of Boston, and his dogs remained just as disciplined, no matter how noisy or crowded it was. His unique way with dogs earned him an amazing reputation and turned him into a viral sensation in 2013 when a video of him and his dogs spread online like wildfire. Would you be brave enough to walk past a group of unleashed German Shepherds on a busy street? What are your thoughts on Osto's amazing training style? Let us know in the comments below.